Welcome to the Say No to AI Data Centers Ontario Virtual Town Hall meeting. We're going to go right into it and just provide a brief overview of what the status of AI data centers are in Ontario. So currently there is quite a bit of electricity demand coming from AI data centers requesting to connect to Ontario's grid. So they haven't actually gotten access to it, but they might be in the process of getting that connection, and we don't know how many of the ones requesting for connection will actually get approved. So here's what we do know. In June 2025 last year, there was about 2,327 megawatts worth of electricity demand being requested for connection from data centers, and that was from about 12 active applicants. And then as of December 2025, about 6-7 months later, there was over 6,500 megawatts being requested. And just for context on how much 6,500 megawatts is, that's equivalent to providing electricity to around 6.5 million homes. At ClimateFast, we have an initiative going on to create the Ontario Data Center Map. We know that there are a bunch of data center maps that already exist, but they're primarily catered to investors. So we wanted to create something that is catered for residents and everyday Ontarians, so that we can get useful information that we need, like what are the noise pollution levels, what are emission levels, who do I contact on this data center, and all those kinds of things that we should know quite readily from a data center map. So we've been looking into AI data centers since around November, when there was a consultation process for Bill 40. And Bill 40 was a bill trying to prioritize data center connections because there are just so many data centers wanting access to Ontario's grid. And so the province was trying to figure out, which ones to prioritize and getting public feedback on how to go about this. And we've learned a lot since. So here are 6 quick points that we've taken away from our experience. The first is the Ford government and Energy Minister Lecce are very pro AI data centers. And this is because they're, doing things in the name of the free market and economic growth. Second, natural gas generated electricity will be the main, if not the only source of power that will be powering new AI data centers in Ontario. The third point is there is no consultation process that exists currently in Ontario for individual data centers at any level of government. So that's the federal, provincial, or municipal. There is no consultation process that exists. And this is a big problem because, we'll see examples in the US where local residents are standing up and going to town hall meetings and talking to their local councillor and saying, we don't want these data centers. And they have, successful cases of being able to block data centers. But in Ontario, we don't even have the process or ability to do that. So we need to create this process, and there hasn't been any initiative or will from the Ford government to do this at the moment. 4, consultation is occurring still for Bill 40 by the Ministry of Energy and Mines. So in Ontario, you can email data.center.consultation@ontario.ca and let them know any concerns you have regarding affordability of electricity bills from data centers and such. 5, we're seeing new messaging around how critical mineral extraction in the Ring of Fire can support AI data center growth. So it sort of sounds like they're creating a new economy around AI, right from the mineral extraction point all the way to the data center point. 6, Microsoft AI data centers are seeing big wins in Vaughan and Etobicoke North. There are various different data center companies, like, Compass Data Centers, Yonder, Stack, and others. And Microsoft is one that they're getting, real success in their lobbying at the Ontario government. And geographically, they're quite strategic in how, like, they're getting one Microsoft data center in each region or municipality. So it's something to really keep a close eye on. And here is just more proof of that. There's a really strong connection between Microsoft, the Ford government, and the Ministry of Energy and Mines. And this is just some screenshots of some recent news release that they came out on this. And you can see in the Minister of Energy's Instagram, you can see that they're giving a direct shout out to Microsoft, congratulating them, wanting to attract investment from them, and Microsoft responding in the comments that, this is a partnership that they're really happy with and want to continue with, which is, quite concerning. Okay, and yeah, this is just a continuation off of previous discussions we have had. This is the second virtual town hall meeting. In the previous one, we were brainstorming all the reasons why, data centers are a concern for people, and so many different points came up. Everything from, risks to water shortages, violation of treaty rights, emissions from fossil fuels, surveillance, mass unemployment, unaffordability, rising militarism and the use of AI there, women's rights, like deepfake videos of that are harmful against women, like so many reasons why these AI data centers are of concern, and they're all equally important. This is our second last slide. So, in Ontario's context, it's quite challenging to address all the different concerns people have around data centers because the government existence works in silos. For example, just looking at the energy sector as a whole, there's the Ministry of Energy and Mines, the Ontario Energy Board, and the Independent Electricity Systems Operator, also known as ISO, in Ontario. And each of these bodies, they work together, but they're also separate and responsible for very distinct things. So depending on your concerns, you would need to go to different organizations. And then if you're, just concerned about like the pollution and like environmental aspects of data centers, you wouldn't even go to the Ministry of Energy, you'd go to the Ministry of Environment, Conservation, Parks. So it's just these different issues around data centers go to different ministries and like agencies, making it very like spread out, and that can not only waste our time, but it I think means that like there isn't a lot of coordination and communication happening within the government to ensure that data centers are getting looked at in a very holistic way. Finally, this is the last slide. So this is a kind of a key takeaways, lessons learned slide to summarize the advocacy that we've been doing since November. The first thing is there is no viable inside the system avenue when it comes to AI data centers in Ontario. The issues are siloed across ministries. We're not getting responses from many MPPs, and definitely not the people in like the decision-making roles. There is no consultation process that exists for us that we've been able to find on individual data centers. And lastly, the Ford government is acting on a pro-business free market agenda. So if you're not aligned with that agenda, like it's very, very hard to fight back against that because they have a majority government. The second general point is waiting for transparency through freedom of information requests and whatnot. It takes a long time, and there might not even be information that's made public because there's third-party agreements, and data center companies will, try to make sure that as little information goes out as possible that could harm their reputation. So it's actually very difficult to get transparency on data centers. And because of that, we can't wait to have all the information, or we cannot wait to act. We have to act in the absence of information. And the last point is we need to brainstorm outside of the system responses. This could be going viral on social media, looking at demand-side responses, building worker power, and things like that. And that brings us to the end of this deck. If you have any questions, please email us at info@climatefast.ca.